Hello everyone, this is Mr. H. I am here today is June 15th. I wanted to go over the lesson for today and this week. So I'm going to jump into it, and this one may take a little bit of time because I wanted to make sure I cover this kind of adequately. So let me just jump in. So what you should see is my iPad. Today's lesson is going to be on angles. Complementary angles, supplementary angles, vertical angles, adjacent angles. 4 types of angles. That's what we're covering. So let's just kind of jump into it. Let's see, we're going to go past this. Boom, 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 boom. All right, so first thing, there's something that's called a 360 dunk. And basically what it is the player will jump in the air, spin, go 1 revolution, and then dunk the ball. That's why it's called a 360. So once you go 1 turn around in the air and you dunk it, that's called a 360. So that's what we have here, and I want to start by drawing that. So I'm going to start with black. So if I start here and I go all the way around in the air and I come back, I've gone 360 degrees, okay? Now, if I go around, I come back, okay? If I go halfway around, let me erase part of this. If I start here and I erase part of this and I go halfway around. If I go halfway around in the air, I've gone 180 degrees. Half of 360 is 180, okay? So now, if I go, let's say I start here, and I go around, I come back, I've gone 360, but let's say I only go 1/4 of the way. So let me erase the rest of it. And start here, take this part, get rid of it, and I come right over here and stop. All right, so let me put some arrows on there. This will go here. This will go here. All right, so if I go a full circle around, I've gone 360 degrees. That little symbol means degree. If I go halfway around, I've got 180 degrees. If I go 1/4 of the way around in the air, I've gone 90 degrees. Now, here's one of the things I want to make sure everyone's aware of. Okay, that's a straight line. That's a straight line. Now, the symbol that indicates that you've gone 1/4 of a circle, or 360, is this. That little symbol means it's 90 degrees. Whenever you see that symbol, that means 90 degrees. It's also called a right triangle. 90 degrees, right triangle. All right triangles are 90 degrees. All 90-degree angles are right angles, okay? So now, the reason I started with this is the 2 things that we're going to be focusing on are the 180 degrees and the 90 degrees. Okay, so let's keep it moving. Next. All right, so now I've emailed you this handout so that you guys can follow along. If you have the ability to print, you can print it out, but I don't think if you're not able to print it out, you can still kind of follow along with it. All right, so first thing, I've circled these already. If you look here, you'll see that I circled this little box here, right here, and I've also circled this little box here. Remember, whenever you see those little boxes, that means that it's a right angle. So the very first thing we see here, a complementary angle. A complementary angle are 2 or more angles that add up to 90 degrees. Usually it's two angles, but it could be more than two angles. But generally it's two angles that add up to 90 degrees. So it's two angles that make a right triangle, or might make a right angle, sorry. And a way to remember it is complementary angles. When you compliment someone, that's the right thing to do. Even though this is a different spelling of compliment, it's a good way to remember it. If you compliment someone, it's the right thing to do. All right, so complementary angles add up to 90 degrees. So if we look at this example, number one, this is 18 degrees, this is 72 degrees. If you add those two together, 18 plus 72 gives you 90. So we know that these two angles are complementary. Now, if you look over here at this example, example number 2, 40 plus 50 is 90 degrees. So we know that we know that they're complementary angles. We also know because of this symbol, we also know because of the symbol that those two are those two are complementary angles, because that's a right angle. So 40 plus 50 is 90 degrees. Okay, so complementary angles add up to 90 degrees. Supplementary angles add up to 180 degrees. It's two or more angles that add up to 180. Another way of thinking about it is supplementary angles add up to a straight line, even though I've kind of messed that one up. Let me see if I can make this a little better. Nope, that wasn't better. That's better. All right, so these two angles basically add up to 180 degrees. And if you look at it, that's a straight line. A straight line, if you measure from one side to the other side, it is 180 degrees. So these two angles are supplementary. Now, look at example 2. A and E are supplementary angles, but so are E and D. Those are supplementary angles. Guess what? Also, if you look at B, C, and D, those are supplementary angles. So supplementary angles basically just add up to 180 degrees, which is a straight line. Okay, a good way to remember supplementary angles, remember supplementary and straight lines both begin with an S. That's one way to remember it. Okay, let's keep going. Now, next type of angle, adjacent angles. Adjacent just means side by side. That's what adjacent means. It means side by side. So if we were looking at adjacent houses, the houses would be side by side. For adjacent angles, they have to have a common side and they have to have a common vertex. The most important thing is the common side though, right? So a way to remember it is that just think of the angles as being neighbors. They're right next door to each other. So if we look at example 1, it's A and B are adjacent angles. They share, let me make this a different color so we can really see what's going on. This side right here is shared between angle A and angle B. So those two angles are adjacent. They also share the same vertex. So those are considered adjacent angles. The only thing that we know about adjacent angles is that they share a common side and vertex. We don't know if they're going to be complementary, supplementary, or anything else special. All we know is that they share the same side and a vertex. That's it. So if we were filling this in, it's because they share a common vertex and a common side. The side part to me is the most important thing. Now, in example 2, it says name two angles that are adjacent to H. Okay, so here's H. I'm going to draw, this is H right here. Okay, so now we need an angle that has a common side. So here, angle G is adjacent. Angle G is adjacent. and angle I is also adjacent, okay? So those are the two adjacent side or adjacent angles to angle H. Probably should have done those in different colors, but I hope you get the point. Adjacent just means they share a common side and vertex. Next, right, so now we got vertical angles. Vertical angles, these are vertical angles. Up here and down here are vertical angles, and over here are vertical angles. An X creates two sets of vertical angles. Okay, so let me show you. Here is one set, this, and then this would be another set, these two and these two, okay? Now, the thing that we know about vertical angles is vertical angles are congruent. They're equal to each other. So this angle, this angle and this angle are equal, and this angle and this angle are equal. So if this angle is 45, then that means that S must be 45. If this is 45, we know that this angle here is supplementary, so we know we could figure out what that is. So that means that this angle would be 135, which means that this angle would be 135 because vertical angles are congruent or are equal to each other, okay? Now, a way to think of it, I don't know if this is a good way. It says, think of two Eskimos kissing. Eskimos kiss with their noses. So it's like their noses are touching. That's one way to think of it. Another way is to think of two V's kissing, right? Whatever works, just give it a shot, help you remember it. Now, if you look at example 2, there's only one set of vertical angles. It would be J and H. J here and H here. Remember, they have to be straight lines. They can't be crooked. They have to be two straight lines intersecting. Two straight lines intersecting create two pairs of vertical angles. So be careful on that. All right, so now we're just going to do a little bit of coloring to make sure. So it says color the angle in yellow. So the angle in would be here. So I would color this part in right here. Bam, that's in. Now it says color an angle that is adjacent to N, and they want us to color it green. Now, since the angle M has two sides, there are potentially two adjacent angles. We could look at N, that could be considered adjacent, and we could look at R. Either one of those angles is considered adjacent to M. So let's color in this one. Let's color in R. We'll make R the adjacent angle. So I'm coloring this in. They want it to be green. Let me just get this little piece here. All right, so that's green. And let me get rid of this. Okay, now, what's the next thing? They want us to color the angle Q. They want us to color that red. So Q is right here. So we're going to color, oops, I didn't change the color. We're going to color this red. So this is Q. That's red. Now they want us to color the complement. Now, remember, what does complement means? When you complement someone, that's the right thing to do. A right angle has 90 degrees. So complementary angles must add up to 90 degrees. So that means that P is the complement to Q. So we would color in P. And that's what it would look like. And also notice that little symbol, I'm going to color that black right in here. That little symbol represents, it always indicates a right angle, and the right angle is 90 degrees. So those two are complements. So now we got to answer this question. If Q is 33 degrees, what is P going to be? Now, the way that you would do that, because we know that those two angles are complements, we can just go 90 minus 33. and whatever the difference is, that's going to be the complement. So it'll be 57. So 57 is a measure of P, and we know that because they're complements. That means they add up to 90, okay? Let's go. Now, we're looking at vertical angles. So it says, color two vertical angles yellow. All right, so I'm going to go here. I need two vertical angles. Let's see. I'm going to use this, D and F. These are vertical angles, okay? Those are vertical angles. Those are the, well, there's another vertical, but you'd have to put together a bunch of different angles to make up the other one. So these are the only two vertical angles that are kind of opposite each other, and we don't have to do anything else. So I colored those two yellow. Now it says, color two angles that are complementary red. So we're looking for complements. So I'm looking at this symbol right here, and I know that means 90 degrees. So these two angles here, angle C and angle H, are going to be complements. So I'm going to color those in red. All right, done. So now it says color the angle that is supplementary to F. And F, let me write it. It's a little hard to see. This is F, and they want the supplement to F. Supplement, straight line, 180 degrees. So that means the supplement to F is going to be E. And so I can color this in just like this. And that's it. That's the supplement to F. So the next thing that they tell us is that if F is 79 degrees, what is E going to be? And the way that we would find that, because they're supplementary angles, we know that they have to add to 180. So if we know that one of the angles is 79, we can subtract to find the other angle. This is going to be 1. This is going to be 101. So this angle, angle E, would be 101. To check that, all you would do is take 101 and add it to 79, and they should add up to 180 if they are supplementary. Straight line, 180 degrees. So now, the last question, it says if the measure of F is 79, what's the measure of D going to be? And this is D right here. So since they're vertical angles are congruent. Vertical angles are equal. So we can say, since this is 79, that means that D must be 79. Simple as that. Now, the only angle that we didn't find a measurement for was angle G. And we could find that angle because we know that F plus this right angle plus G should add up to 180. So if we could just total those up, we could figure out what G is. They didn't ask us to do that, but that would be a nice little question to do. All right, let's keep it moving because I want to try to finish this. I think I'm going a little long. The last thing, last page, it says, color the vertical angles yellow. So let me get my yellow color. And I'm looking for vertical angles. There's only two, and it would be I. Look for the X. And M. These are vertical angles, right? Vertical angles. Now, it says color the angle J green. So I got to choose. So this is J. So I'm going to color this green. All right, so this angle right here. Now it says color the angle that is adjacent to angle J green. Now, technically, there are two angles that are adjacent to J. We've got I and K, but since I is already colored, I think they want us to color the one that's not already colored. So we can make K green. We can color this in, make this green. All right, got it colored. Now it says, color the angle that is supplementary to I. Supplementary, straight line, adds to 180 degrees. So what we can do is I is here. So this would be the supplementary angle. So I would color that in. So yellow plus blue gives us 180. And it doesn't matter if it's the I or the M, because those two angles are vertical angles. We know that they're equal. So either one of those added to N. So the yellow plus blue gives us 180. So now they said if N is 118 degrees, then what is M going to be? Well, M is a supplement to 118, supplementary angle. So all we have to do is go 180 minus 118, that's 2, that's 6. So this would be 62 degrees. That's the supplementary angle to angle N. And because this is 62 degrees, we also know that this is 62 degrees because they're vertical angles. Okay, now that's it. I hope you understand complementary angles, angles that add up to 90 degrees, supplementary angles, angles that add up to 180 degrees, vertical angles basically are equal to each other. Two straight lines create two pairs of vertical angles, and adjacent angles are just angles that have a common side and a common vertex. All right, so where's my next slide? All right, so I wanted to just go over this part here, the facts. Complementary angles add up to 180, or to 90, sorry. Supplementary angles add up to 180. Adjacent angles have a common side and a common vertex. And vertical angles are, I said angles opposite in the X, right? That's it. So what are we looking at? So the assignments for this week, we have IXL W17, and we have a couple assignments in Khan Academy. So once you've watched this video, you should be able to go out and do both of those assignments pretty easily. If you're struggling with it, I would just suggest to come back and watch the video and then give it another shot. If that doesn't work, you can always give me a call or you can text me. All right, thank you, and I hope you guys are doing good. All right, bye.